Admiral Corthax paced the bridge of his flagship, his skin darkening to a deep purple with frustration. 6 hours into the battle, and his mighty armada had lost 37 ships without destroying a single human vessel. "This is unacceptable," he growled. "Where is their ship now?" "Unknown, Admiral," replied his tactical officer. "Our sensors detect nothing." "Impossible. They must be somewhere." Zextra approached cautiously. "Admiral, I've analyzed their attack pattern. The humans are not trying to destroy our fleet." Corthax stopped pacing. "Explain." "They're targeting our sensors, communications, and engines. They're blinding and immobilizing us, not destroying us." The Admiral considered this. A strange strategy when faced with annihilation. "Perhaps they know something we don't," Zextra suggested. Before Corthax could respond, the ship trembled slightly. Not an attack. Something else. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "we're detecting unusual activity from Earth. Massive energy readings." On the view screen, the blue planet seemed unchanged, but the sensor readouts told a different story. Energy levels were spiking all across the planet's surface. Inside the Defiance, now hiding in the shadow of Earth's larger moon, Captain Samantha Wright received the update from Earth Command. "Global Defense Network activated, Captain," reported Communications Officer Ryan Porter. "All ground-based displacement field generators are online." Samantha nodded. "Perfect timing." Status of the enemy fleet. Lisa Wong studied her tactical display. "They're maintaining their formation around Earth, but 37 vessels are disabled. The rest appear confused. Their formation is loosening. Phase 3 is ready," Engineer Martinez announced over the comm. "Displacement mines armed and prepared for deployment." Samantha took a deep breath. This was the riskiest part of their strategy. "All hands prepare for rapid jump sequence. We'll make 5 jumps in quick succession. 10 seconds at each location, just long enough to deploy the mines." The crew acknowledged their orders. The Defiance's engines hummed as the displacement drive charged to maximum power. "Jump in 3, 2, 1. The ship vanished from the moon's shadow and reappeared at the first designated coordinates, directly above the alien fleet's northern quadrant. "Deploying mines, Section 1, Wong announced, her fingers dancing across the controls. Small dark objects scattered from the ship, drifting down toward the alien vessels below. Before the aliens could respond, the Defiance vanished again, reappearing at the next location. Again and again, the human ship blinked in and out of existence around the alien fleet, leaving clusters of seemingly harmless devices in its wake. On the alien flagship, chaos erupted as officers tried to track the human vessel. "There? No, there. It's gone again." The sensor operator's voice rose with each appearance and disappearance of the Defiance. Corthax watched in growing alarm. "What are those devices they're deploying?" "Unknown, Admiral," came the frustrated reply. "They're too small for detailed scans." Zextra studied the pattern of deployments. "Admiral, they're surrounding us. Whatever those devices are, they're creating a 3-dimensional grid around our fleet." Corthax made a decision. "Break formation. All ships, scatter and prepare tow." The first of the displacement mines activated. Unlike conventional explosives, these weapons didn't detonate with fire or shrapnel. Instead, they created small, controlled ruptures in spacetime, miniature versions of the technology that powered the Defiance. An alien warship caught in the field distorted grotesquely as space itself warped around it. Metal twisted and tore as different parts of the ship experienced different gravitational forces. Then it imploded, crushed by forces beyond conventional physics. Throughout the fleet, more mines activated. Not all destroyed their targets. Some merely damaged them. Others teleported small sections of ships away, leaving gaping holes in hulls and critical systems. In 12 seconds, 22 more alien ships were destroyed or disabled. Back on Earth, General Patterson watched the sensor readings with grim satisfaction. The displacement mines are working. Secretary Chen nodded slowly. But we've revealed our most advanced technology. If they adapt, they won't have time, Patterson interrupted. Captain Wright is already implementing the next phase. On the Defiance, Samantha Wright gave her next order. Prepare to transmit the signal. It's time to wake up the Mars defense ring. The red planet glowed in the darkness of space. For decades, Mars had been humanity's first true colony beyond Earth. Now it served another purpose. Captain Samantha Wright watched as the signal reached Mars. Seconds later, the planet's surface lit up with dozens of bright points, defense platforms awakening from standby mode. Mars defense ring activated. Ryan Porter confirmed from communications. All platforms report ready status. On her command screen, Samantha could see the alien fleet still trying to regroup after the displacement mine attack. They remained in Earth orbit, their formation now loose and disorganized. Perfect. Send the coordinates to Mars Control, she ordered. Target the enemy's command ships. Across millions of miles of space, the defense platforms on Mars oriented themselves toward Earth. Unlike conventional weapons, these didn't fire missiles or energy beams. Instead, they created focused displacement fields, tunnels through space-time that connected two distant points. The first platform fired. There was no visible beam, no projectile, just a ripple in space. On the other end of that ripple, a hole in reality opened directly inside an alien warship. Air rushed out, followed by equipment and alien crew members, all sucked instantly into the vacuum of space. One by one, the Mars platforms fired, creating deadly wormholes inside 20 of the largest alien vessels. On his flagship, Admiral Korthax watched in horror as ships throughout his fleet were destroyed from within. "What is happening?" he demanded, his voice rising with each new alarm. "Some kind of spatial anomaly," his science officer stammered. "They're opening portals inside our ships." Korthax had never encountered such technology, such a violation of natural law. How far can they project these weapons? "The energy signature originates from Mars," Zextra reported grimly. "Mars? That's impossible. No weapon can strike across planetary distances." Yet the evidence was undeniable. His mighty fleet, the pride of the hegemony, was being systematically dismantled by an enemy they had severely underestimated. 60 vessels lost or disabled, the tactical officer reported. "We still have overwhelming numerical superiority. But they're targeting our command ships," Korthax finished. His inner eyelids blinked rapidly, a sign of deep distress in his species. "They know exactly what they're doing." For the first time, the Admiral considered a possibility that had seemed laughable just hours ago. The humans might actually win this battle. "Change of strategy," he announced. "All remaining ships form defensive clusters. Priority is to protect command vessels. Launch fighter squadrons to locate and destroy the human ship." As the alien fleet reorganized, the Defiance slipped silently between Earth and its moon, using the natural gravity well to mask its energy signature. "They're adapting," Lisa Wong observed, studying the tactical display. "Forming defensive groups." Samantha nodded. "As expected. They're learning, but too slowly." She turned to her communications officer. "Contact Earth Command. Tell them to prepare Jupiter Station for activation." Ryan looked up in surprise. "Jupiter Station? That's still experimental." "So was this ship until we launched it," Samantha replied with a slight smile. "We need every advantage." Deep in the bunker beneath Nebraska, General Patterson received the request. "Jupiter Station?" Secretary Chen asked, concern evident in her voice. "That technology is untested in combat conditions." Patterson nodded gravely. "Captain Wright knows the risks. But the aliens are adapting faster than we anticipated. We need to end this quickly." He entered his authorization code, confirming the order. On a distant moon of Jupiter, a facility that officially didn't exist powered up its systems. On the Defiance, Frank Martinez's voice came through with excitement. "Captain, I've been analyzing the alien ship designs based on sensor data. I found something interesting." Go ahead, Chief. Their propulsion systems. They use a form of gravitic drive that creates a bubble of altered spacetime, not unlike our displacement technology, but more primitive. If we can disrupt that field with the right frequency. Samantha leaned forward. We could disable their engines without destroying the ships. Exactly. But we'd need to get very close. Samantha considered the risks, then made her decision. Plot a course that will take us through the center of their fleet. We're going to thread the needle. As the Defiance prepared for its most dangerous maneuver yet, Admiral Corthax made a discovery of his own. The human ship, he said slowly, studying the sensor readings. It leads a quantum wake when it jumps. We can't track it directly, but we can predict where it will appear next. For the first time since the battle began, the Admiral smiled. The Defiance disappeared into the darkness of space, its displacement drive charged for the most dangerous jump yet. On the bridge, Captain Samantha Wright felt the familiar sensation of reality bending around them. Jump complete in 3, 2, 1. The ship reappeared in the heart of the alien fleet. Hundreds of enemy vessels surrounded them on all sides. The view was breathtaking and terrifying. Begin frequency broadcast, Samantha ordered. Target their engine systems. Lisa Wong activated the specially modified transmitter, broadcasting on all frequencies. Around them, the nearest alien ships began to drift. Their gravitic drives, disrupted by the precisely calibrated signal from the Defiance, shut down one by one. It's working. Frank Martinez reported from engineering. Their engines are failing. Samantha allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. How many can we affect before they adapt? At this range, maybe 30 ships, Lisa responded. Not enough, but it's a start. Prepare for emergency jump on my mark. The ship rocked violently. Warning lights flashed across every console. We're being targeted, Ryan shouted. Multiple weapons locking on. Samantha's eyes widened. That's impossible. They shouldn't be able to track us this quickly. Another hit shook the ship. The displacement drive whined in protest. They knew we were coming, Lisa realized. They predicted our jump point. On the alien flagship, Admiral Corthax watched with grim satisfaction as his ships fired upon the human vessel. His trap had worked perfectly. They're attempting to disable our engines with some kind of targeted frequency, his science officer reported. Broadcast the countermeasure, Corthax ordered, and concentrate all fire on their position. Hundreds of alien weapons converged on the Defiance's location. The small human ship, impressive as it was, couldn't withstand such overwhelming firepower. Inside the Defiance, systems failed as the barrage continued. Smoke filled the bridge as consoles overloaded. Displacement drive damaged. Frank's voice crackled through the failing comm system. We can't jump. Samantha gripped her chair as another hit rocked the ship. For the first time since the battle began, fear crept into her mind. They were trapped in the middle of the enemy fleet with no escape. Reroute all power to shields, she ordered. Send emergency signal to Earth Command. Ryan worked frantically at his damaged console. Signal sent, but communications are failing. I'm not sure if it got through. In the Nebraska bunker, General Patterson received the broken transmission. The Defiance is in trouble, he announced to the command staff. They're surrounded and can't jump out. Secretary Chen looked grim. Can we help them? Jupiter Station is still powering up, Patterson replied. But we have one option. He turned to a junior officer. Send the order to activate all Earth-based displacement generators simultaneously. Full power. The order went out. Across the planet, the network of generators that had been built in secret over decades came fully online. Unlike the targeted attacks they had performed earlier, this would be different. This would be desperation. In space, the alien fleet continued its merciless assault on the Defiance. Admiral Corthax watched with satisfaction as the human ship's shields weakened. Their technology is impressive, he admitted to Zextra. But ultimately, numbers prevail. Admiral, The sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting massive energy buildup from the planet." Before Korthax could respond, space itself seemed to bend around his fleet. Hundreds of displacement fields activated simultaneously, creating a chaotic web of warped spacetime throughout the alien formation. Ships collided as space compressed between them. Others were stretched and torn apart as gravity itself became a weapon. The carefully organized fleet dissolved into disorder. Aboard the Defiance, the crew watched in awe as Earth's last-ditch defense created havoc among the alien armada. "Earth Command is giving us a window," Samantha realized. She turned to Frank. "Can you get the displacement drive working? Just one jump." The engineer's voice was strained but determined. "Maybe. If I bypass the safety protocols and use emergency power, we might get one short jump. But after that, the drive will burn out completely." "Do it," Samantha ordered. "One jump is all we need." As chaos engulfed the alien fleet, the damaged human ship prepared for its final displacement. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, dependent on one last desperate gamble. Frank Martinez worked frantically in the engine room of the Defiance. Sparks flew around him as he rerouted power connections. The ship shuddered with each new hit from the alien weapons. Bypassing safety protocols, he reported through the damaged communication system, rerouting emergency power to the displacement drive. On the bridge, Captain Samantha Wright held onto her chair as another blast rocked the ship. Status displays flickered, showing critical damage to multiple systems. "Where can we jump to?" she asked Lisa Wong. "We need somewhere safe but strategic." Lisa studied the tactical display. Most of it was corrupted by damage, but she could still see the chaos Earth's displacement generators had created among the alien fleet. "There," she pointed, "behind their flagship. Their defenses are focused on us and dealing with the space distortions. They won't expect us to jump closer to their command ship." Samantha nodded. "Send the coordinates to engineering." She toggled the comm system. "Frank, how much longer?" 2 minutes, Captain. Maybe less if we don't take another direct hit." Those 2 minutes felt like hours. The Defiance's shields were failing, down to less than 20% strength. Another coordinated barrage would finish them. In his flagship, Admiral Korthax struggled to regain control of his fleet. Nearly 200 ships had been damaged or destroyed by Earth's displacement attack. Many more were out of formation, their crews disoriented by the spatial distortions. "The human vessel," he demanded. "Where is it?" "Still in the same position, Admiral," his tactical officer reported. "Their shields are failing. One more concentrated attack will destroy them." Korthax narrowed his 4 eyes. "Order all functional ships to target their position. End this now." As the alien vessels regrouped for a final attack, the Defiance's engine room glowed with unusual light. The displacement drive, pushed far beyond its safety limits, hummed with unstable energy. "Drive ready," Frank shouted. "But we've got maybe 10 seconds before it overloads." Samantha didn't hesitate. "Jump now." Reality bent around the Defiance. For a moment, the ship existed in 2 places at once, then vanished from the kill zone just as hundreds of alien weapons fired simultaneously. The massive barrage hit nothing but empty space. The Defiance reappeared directly behind the alien flagship, so close that the larger vessel blocked it from the view of most of the alien fleet. "Displacement drive completely burned out," Frank reported, his voice tired but triumphant. "That was our last jump." "It was enough," Samantha said. "Lisa, target their flagship's engine section with everything we have left." The Defiance's remaining weapons powered up. At such close range, they couldn't miss. On his bridge, Admiral Korthax felt the impact as the human ship's weapons found their mark. His vessel shuddered, and alarms blared. "We've been hit," Zextra shouted. "Engine containment failing." "Impossible," Korthax whispered. "Where did they?" Another hit interrupted him. The view screen showed his fleet firing at the human ship's previous position, hitting nothing. "They're behind us," he realized. "How did they know to target the engines?" The answer came to him as his ship's power systems began to fail. The humans had studied his vessels, just as he had studied theirs. They had found his weakness. In the Nebraska bunker, General Patterson watched the sensor readings with growing hope. "They made it," he announced. "The Defiance has disabled the alien flagship." Secretary Chen looked skeptical. "Will that be enough?" "They still have over 1,000 ships. A fleet this size needs coordination," Patterson explained. "By targeting their command ship, Captain Wright is disrupting their entire chain of command." On the Defiance, the crew watched as confusion spread through the alien fleet. Some ships moved to protect their damaged flagship. Others continued firing at the Defiance's previous position. Many simply held position, awaiting orders that would never come. "It's working," Ryan Porter said from communications. "Their command structure is breaking down." Samantha nodded, allowing herself a small smile. "And now for the final part of our plan." She opened a channel to the disabled alien flagship. "This is Captain Samantha Wright of Earth Defense Force. Admiral Corthax, can you hear me?" After a moment of static, a reply came through. The alien admiral's voice was strained but clear. "I hear you, human. Have you contacted me to accept my surrender?" Samantha's smile widened. "No, Admiral. I'm giving you the opportunity to surrender to us." Admiral Corthax stared at the communication screen in disbelief. The human captain was offering him a chance to surrender. The absurdity of it made his scales flush dark purple with rage. "You still do not understand your situation," he growled. "I command over 1,000 warships. Your single vessel is damaged and unable to escape. Your planet's defenses, while impressive, cannot hope to destroy my entire fleet." On the Defiance, Samantha listened calmly to the alien's response. She had expected this reaction. "Admiral, look at your tactical display," she suggested. "How many of your ships are currently disabled or destroyed?" There was a pause before Corthax replied. "Losses are acceptable in warfare. We still outnumber you." 273, Samantha interrupted. "That's how many of your vessels are no longer combat effective. And you haven't destroyed a single one of ours." This wasn't entirely true. Several of Earth's smaller ships had been damaged, and one had been destroyed. But the Admiral didn't need to know that. "Furthermore," she continued, "your flagship is crippled, your fleet is in disarray, and you still don't understand what you're fighting against." In the alien command center, Corthax reluctantly studied the tactical display. The human was right about the state of his fleet, but surely they couldn't continue this level of resistance much longer. "Jupiter Station is now online," Samantha announced, as if reading his thoughts. "I suggest you look toward the outer system." Corthax ordered his remaining sensors to focus on Jupiter, the massive gas giant far from Earth. What he saw made his inner eyelids flutter rapidly in shock. The space around Jupiter was changing. Enormous displacement fields were forming, larger than anything the humans had deployed before. The fields curved and connected, creating what appeared to be a massive lens in space. "What is this?" he demanded. "We call it the solar magnifier," Samantha explained. "It focuses and redirects energy from the sun. Would you like a demonstration?" Before Corthax could respond, a bright beam of focused sunlight shot from the Jupiter device. It struck a small, uninhabited asteroid, which immediately glowed white-hot before vaporizing completely. The message was clear. That could have been a ship, or many ships. In the Nebraska bunker, General Patterson watched the demonstration with relief. Jupiter Station had been their most secret project, years in development. They had never tested it at full power before. "Signal from Captain Wright," an officer reported. "She's negotiating with the alien commander." Secretary Chen leaned forward. "Do you think they'll surrender?" "If they're smart, they will," Patterson replied. On the alien flagship, Admiral Corthax faced the most difficult decision of his career. His ship was crippled. His fleet was in disarray. And now the humans had revealed a weapon capable of destroying his remaining forces. "This is impossible," he said, more to himself than to the human captain. "Our intelligence indicated your species was barely space-capable. Your technology should be centuries behind ours." Samantha's expression remained neutral. "Your intelligence was wrong." "How?" Korthax demanded. "How did you develop these technologies so quickly?" Samantha considered her answer carefully. The truth was complex. Decades of reverse engineering from crashed alien ships, massive global cooperation after first contact with another, friendlier species, and a constant human drive to innovate when faced with extinction. "We had good motivation," she said simply. "Your hegemony isn't the first alien power to threaten Earth. We learned from those encounters." On his bridge, Korthax felt something he hadn't experienced in decades. Genuine fear. Not just for himself, but for the hegemony. If the humans could defeat his fleet so easily, what would stop them from striking back? From taking the war to hegemony space? "If I refuse to surrender," he asked. "Then we activate the solar magnifier at full power," Samantha replied. "And your fleet burns." Sextra approached his commander. "Admiral, we must consider our options carefully. The hegemony needs to know about these humans and their capabilities." Korthax understood the implication. Someone needed to survive to carry this information back home, to warn the hegemony about the dangerous species they had so gravely underestimated. He looked at the human captain on the screen, noting her calm confidence despite commanding a badly damaged vessel. His pride rebelled at the thought of surrender, but his duty to the hegemony was clear. "Captain Wright," he said finally, "I am prepared to discuss terms." 3 days after the battle, Captain Samantha Wright stood in the Grand Hall of the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva. The room was filled with military leaders, government officials, and ambassadors from every nation on Earth. All had gathered for this historic moment. Admiral Korthax entered the hall, flanked by human guards. Though not physically restrained, the alien commander moved with the careful dignity of someone who understood his position as a defeated leader. His purple scales had faded to a dull lavender, a sign of stress in his species. The terms of surrender had been straightforward. The alien fleet would withdraw from the solar system. 5 ships, including the repaired flagship, would be allowed to return to their hegemony. The rest would remain in a stable orbit beyond Neptune, powered down and under Earth's control until further negotiations could be completed. General Patterson stepped forward to formally accept the surrender. "Admiral Korthax, on behalf of the United Earth Government, I accept your fleet's withdrawal from our system." The alien commander inclined his head slightly. "The terms are acceptable. The hegemony will honor this agreement." His voice carried a tone that those who knew him would recognize as humility, something new for the once arrogant admiral. After the ceremony, Samantha found herself alone with Korthax in a small meeting room. A translator stood nearby, but the admiral had learned enough English to manage a basic conversation. "There is something I must understand," Korthax said. "We outnumbered you 100 to 1. Our technology has conquered 12 star systems. How did you defeat us so thoroughly?" Samantha considered the question carefully. "It wasn't just technology or tactics," she replied. "It was perspective." "Explain," the admiral requested. "Your hegemony has known only conquest. You see overwhelming force as the answer to everything. But humans—" She paused, searching for the right words. "Humans have always been the underdogs. Our history is filled with smaller forces defeating larger ones through innovation, adaptation, and determination." Korthax's inner eyelids blinked slowly, a sign of deep thought. "You were prepared for us." "Not specifically for you," Samantha corrected, "but for the possibility of you, or someone like you. After our first contact with the Arcturians 50 years ago, we knew we weren't alone. We knew others might not be as peaceful." "The Arcturians," Korthax repeated the unfamiliar name. "They gave you this technology." Samantha smiled slightly. "They shared some knowledge. The rest we developed ourselves. Necessity drives innovation, Admiral. and few necessities are more motivating than survival. In the Nebraska bunker, now returned to its regular operations, Secretary Chen reviewed the final battle reports with General Patterson. 312 enemy ships destroyed or disabled. Patterson summarized. Over 1,000 captured, and only 8 human casualties. Chen nodded solemnly. 8 too many, but far fewer than we feared. The Defiance is being repaired, Patterson continued. Captain Wright has requested to lead the first diplomatic mission to the hegemony once relations are established. Approved, Chen said without hesitation. If anyone can represent Earth to these aliens, it's her. Back in Geneva, Corthax prepared to return to his ship for the journey home. Before leaving, he turned to Samantha one last time. My report to the Hegemony Council will be clear, he said. Earth is not to be underestimated. You are not merely technologically advanced. You think differently than any species we have encountered. I hope that means peace between us going forward, Samantha replied. The Admiral was quiet for a moment. The Hegemony has never known defeat before. This will change us. Whether for better or worse remains to be seen. As Corthax departed for his ship, Samantha watched from a window as the alien shuttle rose into the clear blue sky. Earth had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but stronger. New technologies had been tested, new alliances had been formed, and humanity had proven, once again, that numbers alone did not determine the outcome of conflict. In the vast darkness of space, a lesson had been learned that would soon spread through the galaxy. Never underestimate the species that had survived its own violent history to reach for the stars. They might be outnumbered, but as Admiral Corthax had learned, that didn't matter at all.